Welcome to Daily History for Sleep, where we slow down, settle in, and let the story do the rest. Tonight, we find ourselves in a narrow, rain-soaked alley in a small French town, somewhere in the 19th century, where a single warm light still glows at the end of the street. It is past midnight. The rest of the town is asleep, but inside the little bakery on Rue des Soupirs, Marie is just beginning her night, and somewhere near the back of the wooden shelf, set slightly apart from all the other loaves, there is one small, carefully wrapped bundle that Marie will not sell to anyone. Not tonight. Not to anyone who knocks. By the end of this story, you will understand why. If you are new here, welcome. If this kind of story helps you sleep, a like and a subscription mean more than you know. Now, let us go inside. The alley is narrow and dark, except for one window. It is a small window, low to the ground, with old glass that has gone slightly wavy with age, the kind of glass that bends the candlelight inside into something soft and trembling. The rain falls steadily, not hard, not stormy, just steady. The kind of rain that has been falling since early evening and has settled into a quiet rhythm, as if it has decided to stay for the night and has made itself comfortable. The cobblestones are dark and wet, and the light from Marie's window lies across them in long, warm, golden shapes, shifting slightly whenever the candle inside moves. You stand at the entrance to the alley for a moment. The smell reaches you before anything else. Warm bread, flour, something faintly sweet, cinnamon perhaps, or vanilla. It is difficult to say exactly. It is the kind of smell that does not ask anything of you. It simply arrives, and something in your chest loosens just slightly, the way it does when you come home after a very long day. You walk toward the light. The bakery is one room, low ceiling with dark wooden beams, worn smooth by decades of flour dust and candle smoke. A long oak work table runs along the left wall, its surface pale and powdery, marked with the rings of 1,000 bowls and the shallow grooves of 1,000 kneading sessions. Along the right wall, rough wooden shelves hold rows of finished loaves. Round ones, long ones, small ones, wrapped in cloth. Each one slightly different, each one made by hand. At the far end of the room, the oven. It is a large stone oven built into the wall itself, and it has been burning since late afternoon. The iron door is closed now, but the heat radiates outward in slow, steady waves, warming the floor, warming the air, warming the back of your hands if you stand close enough. And there is Marie. She is standing at the work table with her back to the door, her dark auburn hair tucked under a linen cloth, her sleeves rolled to the elbows. She does not turn when you enter. She is in the middle of something, and she does not like to be interrupted in the middle of something. Her hands are in the dough. The dough is for the morning bread. She made the starter 3 days ago, the way her grandmother taught her. A small clay pot of flour and water left near the warm oven, fed each morning with a little more flour, a little more water, until it was alive and ready. The starter sits on the corner of the table now, in its clay pot, covered with a damp cloth, patient and quiet. Marie works the dough slowly. Push, fold, turn, push, fold, turn. Her movements are unhurried. She has done this so many times that her hands know what to do without being told. She does not think about the dough. She thinks about very little, actually. The rain, the warmth of the oven at her back, the way the candle on the windowsill has burned down to almost exactly the halfway point, which means it is somewhere around 1 in the morning. Push, fold, turn. The dough is smooth now and slightly warm from her hands, and it has that particular smell that bread dough has before it is baked, yeasty and alive and faintly sour in a way that is not unpleasant at all. She shapes it into a round, covers it with a cloth, and sets it near the oven to rise. Then she wipes her hands on her apron, picks up the candle from the table, and moves to the shelf. The shelf along the right wall holds everything that was baked earlier in the evening. 6 long loaves of plain bread, still faintly warm. 4 round loaves with a darker crust, dusted with flour. 2 small braided loaves that Marie makes only on certain days, when she has extra time and extra eggs. A row of small rolls near the end, slightly uneven, which is how you know they were made by hand and not by a machine. And then, at the very end of the shelf, set slightly apart from everything else, a small loaf. It is not the largest loaf on the shelf. It is not the most beautiful, but it is wrapped carefully in a piece of clean linen cloth, tied with a short length of kitchen twine, and placed with a deliberateness that is different from the way the other loaves were simply set down. Marie looks at it for a moment. Then she moves on. The next task is the sweet dough. Marie keeps her spices in a small wooden box on the highest shelf, the one she has to reach up for. Inside the box, in small glass jars with cork stoppers, are the things she uses most. Cinnamon from a merchant who comes through town twice a year. Vanilla from a dark glass bottle that is almost empty. Dried orange peel that she cuts herself in autumn and stores through the winter. She takes down the cinnamon first, opens the jar. The smell is immediate and warm, dry and sweet and slightly sharp, the way cinnamon always is, the kind of smell that belongs to winter mornings and slow afternoons and the inside of warm kitchens. She measures it carefully into a small copper bowl, then the vanilla, then a pinch of the dried orange peel, crumbled between her fingers so that the oils release into the air. She mixes them together slowly with a small wooden spoon. The rain outside has softened slightly, or perhaps it is simply that the room has grown quieter. The oven hums. The candle on the windowsill throws a long, steady shadow across the ceiling. Marie's spoon moves in slow circles in the copper bowl, and the smell of cinnamon and vanilla drifts through the room like something half remembered. The sweet rolls take longer than the bread. The dough is richer, butter worked in slowly, warm milk added a little at a time, eggs from the basket near the door. Marie works it all together at the table, her movements slower now than they were an hour ago, her shoulders lower, her breathing quieter. It is past 2 in the morning. The town outside is completely still. No footsteps in the alley, no voices, only the rain and the oven and the occasional soft sound of Marie's hands against the dough. She rolls the dough out flat on the floured table, spreads the cinnamon mixture across it in a thin, even layer, then rolls it up slowly from one end, pressing gently as she goes. She cuts it into rounds with a knife that has been in this kitchen longer than she has, its wooden handle worn smooth and dark with use. She arranges the rounds in a wide iron pan, close together but not touching, and slides the pan into the lower part of the stool near the work table, folds her hands in her lap, and waits. The waiting is the part that Marie has learned to love. In the early years, when she first took over the bakery from her grandmother, the waiting felt like wasted time. She would pace or clean things that did not need cleaning, or start tasks she could not finish before the oven needed attention again. Now she simply sits. She watches the candle. She listens to the rain. She thinks sometimes about the morning, about the sound of the alley coming slowly back to life as the sky lightens, about the first knock at the door, which always comes earlier than she expects, no matter how many years she has been doing this. It is always the same knock. 3 small taps, very close together, at the very bottom of the door, because the person who knocks is not very tall. The rolls are ready. Marie can tell before she opens the oven door. The smell changes when they are done, shifts from raw sweetness to something deeper and rounder, the kind of smell that fills a room completely and stays long after the pan has been taken out. She lifts the pan with a folded cloth and sets it on the iron rack near the window to cool. The rolls are golden on top, slightly darker at the edges, and the cinnamon filling has caramelized in places into thin, dark ribbons of sweetness. Steam rises from them slowly in the cool air near the window. Marie looks at them for a moment. Then she takes one, just one, and sets it aside on a small plate. She covers it with a clean cloth. She places it next to the small wrapped loaf at the end of the shelf. The rest of the night passes slowly and quietly. Marie washes the copper bowls in the stone basin near the back wall. She sweeps the flour from the work table with a wide brush. She checks the morning bread, which has risen beautifully under its cloth, and slides it into the oven with the long-handled wooden peel that hangs beside the door. The candles burn lower. The rain outside softens further until it is barely more than a whisper against the old glass of the window. The oven breathes its slow, steady warmth into the room. Marie moves through the bakery in the near dark, doing the small, familiar tasks of the end of the night, covering the remaining loaves with cloth, setting out the wooden trays for the morning, filling the water jug near the door. She is tired now, not unpleasantly tired, the kind of tired that comes from a night of quiet, useful work, the kind that settles into your bones like warmth and makes the idea of rest feel like something earned. One by one, the candles go out. The room grows darker and warmer somehow, the way rooms do when the light pulls back and the shadows come forward. The oven is the only light now, a faint orange glow around the edges of the iron door, steady and low. Marie stands at the shelf one last time. The morning bread is in the oven. The sweet rolls are cooling. The loaves are covered. Everything is in its place. She looks at the end of the shelf. The small wrapped loaf. The plate with the cinnamon roll covered with its clean cloth. She adjusts the cloth slightly, straightens the twine on the wrapped loaf. Then she takes her candle, walks to the back of the bakery, and sits down in the old wooden chair that has been in the corner since before she was born. She closes her eyes. Outside, the rain has almost stopped. The alley is quiet and dark and wet, and the last of the candlelight from the window has gone out, and the only warmth left is the slow, steady breathing of the oven, and the smell of bread, and the knowledge that in a few hours, when the sky begins to lighten over the rooftops of the town, there will be 3 small taps at the very